Many families around the world long to see their child become a god or goddess. This happened 22 years ago for a poor family in Nepal, when some priests discovered their daughter in a small village of the Kathmandu Valley. This baby was destined to become a goddess. Today, that living goddess is being honored in a temple protected by the black guards of the king god of Nepal. The goddess, isolated from the modern world, is called the Kumari. Chosen to become a goddess at the age of 3, after terrifying tests, the Kumari will become human again on the day of her first menstruation. But the mother of the Kumari from Patan, so very proud of her daughter and having seen the profit she could make out of the situation, decided to break with tradition for the first time. At 25, the Kumari still continues as a living goddess. It is perhaps just as well, for if she became human again, she would never be able to lead a normal life thereafter. Men would avoid marrying her because legend claims that the husbands of former living goddesses die terrible deaths. For great occasions, 2 or 3 times a year, the Kumari comes out of her retreat to receive public homage. But she has to observe very strict taboos to preserve her purity as a goddess. She is not allowed to touch the ground, to spill blood, or to pronounce any words in front of other people except for her mother, on pain of becoming human again. The Kumari is the protective goddess of the kingdom of Nepal. She is the one who gives the king his powers. She guarantees the legitimacy of the last absolute monarch, the king god of Nepal. It is also said that she performs miracles, heals the blind and the sick. But the living goddess lives in a fragile world. At the end of the dry season, water is so scarce in the Kathmandu Valley that the king has to send his truck to distribute it to the people waiting in long line. But in the end, the people still prefer to call upon Machindranath the Red for help, the god of the rain, enthroned on his war chariot. His power will be especially great if the living goddess lays her eyes upon him. During 1 month, the chariot of Machindranath will be towed throughout the city and exposed to the living goddess, in the hope that, satisfied from his travel and encounters, the god will bring rain to the thirsty city. The people would have enough to eat if it were not for the fact that they send half of their crops to the temples, the priests, and the living goddess. One day, in front of the temple, the preachers are replaced by speakers demanding rice and democracy. The army comes out on the streets and patrols near the temples, ready to stop any protest. The ministers, feeling threatened, send their wives to the living goddess, bearing offerings to her feet. If the Kumari does not taste the food offered to her, it means that she refuses to help the ministers. Goddess Kali is in favor of some changes, and she is used by those who want democracy. The living goddess, protecting the king, supports his absolutism, and she does not hesitate to confront the angry population. Well protected by the black guards, the Kumari will offer a rose to the king's representative. The rose will remind the king that they share the same destiny because they have the same astrological chart. During the night, as the police try to quell the public outrage, the living goddess takes shelter. The day after the referendum, won by the supporters of absolute monarchy, the angry supporters of democracy invade the city of Bhaktapur and attack the temples. The priests have just time to take the gods to safety. Then what happens? Having nobody left to fight, the crowd takes its aggression out on itself and starts destroying its own temples, recently restored at a cost of several $1 million by the Germans. The police encircle the town, forbidding anyone to go through, but they will not intervene in the ongoing battle for fear the people might unite their forces and bring about a general riot. For 24 hours, the crowd will fight one against the other with stones ripped off the temples. Sign of the time, or revenge of the gods. In any case, the living goddess of Nepal will have a difficult time in adjusting and giving satisfaction to the mixed feelings of a frustrated population.